Hello everybody.
Hi Bright.
Hello. My name is Bright Ackwerh, and this here is my installation for Chalewote 2016, which I call Validate Me. For the year's theme, which is Spirit Robots, artists are encouraged to respond to the theme in various creative ways. My understanding or my concept of the Spirit Robot is a series of incidents where an entity I call the Spirit, which represents the creative life force of humans, and then the robot, which is another entity which is man-made mechanisms devoid of human feelings come together. I see the Spirit and the robot as two opposing entities, but like two sides of a coin, they need each other to thrive. And so in various instances where the Spirit has come into contact with the robot, there's been maybe successes or failures when endorsement has been sought after. Sometimes I think the Spirit needs endorsement from the robot, and the robot needs endorsement from the Spirit. Now, the work you have here, which is my satirical illustrations, take inspiration from popular music, popular film, from politics and history. And each of the pieces tell the story in a satirical way about an interesting point where, like I said, a spirit and a robot have had one of these clashes. With this, I see the spirit to be, like I said, a creative force. So in this place, it is life. And the robot being the government or the policing system. This piece here was inspired by incidents happening a lot in America, where it seems like there's been targeted brutalization of people of color. One interesting thing art does is it's able to forecast maybe a future happening, something that may not necessarily happen, but it helps you to see possibilities, like a what-if analysis of a sort. I feel like people in power or those who have control over the policing system may not be doing enough to curb this troubling issue. And so I look at the first family of the United States, which is a family or people of color, and I say, what would happen if this family has lost the privilege of being in the presidential position, and so they were like every ordinary American citizen and were victims of these police brutalities? Will there be a more active attempt to end it, or would it still go on like that? That is what this piece talks about. Another robot scheme I identify is the Oscars, which is an award scheme supposed to endorse or validate the creative spirit of people which is in the field of acting or filmmaking. But again, I have noticed a disturbing trend where it seems like actors of color have to go to certain extremes before they are recognized. So if you look at the list of such actors who have won this recognition and the roles they've played in the movies to get it, it's very disturbing to me. In 2012, the movie 12 Years a Slave, which featured Lupita as one of the main characters, it was a big movie, and she won Best Supporting Actress for her role she played. But then I find the narrative the movie pushes to be a very, very tired one. I feel like there are too many movies depicting that slavery era of Black Americans, and these movies also go to shape people's perceptions about people of color and then African history in general. And so this piece here pushes that notion to a certain provocative extreme, where you find the figure of the Oscar trophy animated as a man, and the female body has to be commodified. So here she's performing a fellatio act, on the character of the Oscar. Okay. So that's what this piece also talks about. Okay, so this one was inspired by popular music in Ghana. About a year ago, one of the biggest musicians here made a song which featured American rapper Ace Hood. It was a big issue because there was stories about him having to pay $25,000 to secure the collaboration. And I'm saying, okay, so if this is what it takes for a musician from this space to be endorsed, even by the audience from this space, okay, what would a young up-and-coming musician have to do to get that same kind of endorsement? In another song which reacted to that story, a young musician by the name Wolasi questioned the story and asked if he also had to pay $25,000 to secure a collaboration from Busta Rhymes before his music is endorsed. I think a lot of musicians have had to compromise the critical messages in their songs just to fit the machinery and be able to get maybe popular radio play or mainstream airing on TV, something like that. So I think over here, the spirit that is the creative force in music faces a very rigid machine in maybe the radio structure, TV structure, mainstream media structure. Another one.
What's up here?
Which one?
Is that Beyonce?
Yeah. So that one was, like I said, a lot of my work is influenced by popular culture. So I'm a big lover of popular music. And I look at Beyonce as an archetype, a representation of popular music industry politics. And I have listened to Lemonade, I have seen the film, I have read the credits for the making of the album. And I find a lot of young, not as popular creatives having to feed Beyonce with content. So writing credits, credits for making the video and all came from young creatives, a lot of them of African descent. And so this piece is, it appropriates a scene from the Hold Up section of the film where she goes around with a baseball bat just smashing things. And over here she's threatening these guys as if to beat her album out of them. So the characters down there are some of the people whose work fed her album. Let me talk about the display format. So because of the kind of work I do and the politics of art in general, there is very, very limited showing for my kind of work in more traditional spaces where art is shown. And so I took to social media because I found out that that place is a very free place. I can get to communicate easily with my target audience, which is the young at heart, because I want to grow with them, and I feel like very soon they'll be the ones in the positions of power to cause the effective change that we need. And so my work is very, very young people oriented. And so I took to social media. But for a lot of the provocative conversations that I raise, and also the sense of censorship that exists in that proposed free space, I take to formats like this and to events like Chalewote, which is with no restrictions at all.